It is a great day to be alive, and I am so thankful for God, Jesus Christ, who lives in us. Today's video is titled October Bottom, November Top, What's New? Before we get started, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing that I'm sharing is financial advice. I'm simply sharing dreams, visions, and interpretations that I feel God has given me as it relates to crypto. Now, let's get into the video. So I want to start here with this particular video that I shared on October 25th. In this video, I talked about a new dream that involved Brother Marcus from Walk This Way, and I'm titling this dream November, December, because in this dream, I saw a thumbnail that went to a video that Brother Marcus was sharing in my dream. And the thumbnail had the word November at the top, something in the middle, and October at the bottom. In that previous video, I shared how I simply looked at this and saw October bottom, November top, meaning price movement when it comes down to the markets. October bottom, November top. Based on how this thumbnail was set up with November on the top, October on the bottom, I looked at that as a fraction, using the number 10 for October, 11 for November, coming up with a fraction 11 over 10, which represents a month and a date, which was November 10th. I added this date to other dates that I derived in that video. These dates would be the opposite. So in other words, November 10th would be green as far as the markets moving to the top. And these in gray represented those dates that could possibly represent a time period when we will see this elevator drop or the third red candle, all this relating to the Eiffel Tower dream. If you have not seen those videos, then you may be a little bit lost on what I'm talking about. But this is talking about a crash, the Eiffel Tower crash that I saw in my dream. So I went on to say in that video that I did not know if these dates would be the day that this would happen, but these were the dates that I derived and shared in that video. Again, as always, continuing to pray, asking God for more understanding. And this is what God has done. So since I did that video on the 25th, shared this date of October 10th, I had 4 more dreams. Those 4 dreams I shared in this video. Out of those 3 gray dates, on 2 of these dates, I had 1 dream each. On October 29th, I had a dream about 2 bears, a mama bear and a baby bear, and a drink. After looking at all the components of that dream, I realized that I had to be drinking a 7-Up drink. So bears represents a bear market or a crash. This drink, when I did my research, took me back to October 29th, 1929, the great market crash that took place, the Great Depression that occurred. This drink was sold 2 weeks before this event took place. Again, looking at the bears, representing a crash or a bear market, and then this research about this drink in this same dream took me right to the market crash of 1929. Also in this dream, I knew that we were volunteering our time for 7 days. To me, that represents the government shutdown. So we're looking at a bear market or a crash. This is showing something that's going to be symbolic of that 1929 crash, something that's going to be symbolic of that Great Depression during that time. And it may have something to do with this government shutdown after it ends or during. I'm leaning more towards after it ends. This brings us to October 31st. On October 31st, I had a dream about Reggie Miller, me saying that hands down, he was one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. Pointing out record-breaking historical records. Reggie Miller would go down in history as one of the NBA's #1 greatest 3-point shooters. And when you combine all these things together, both of these dreams on the 29th and the 31st, are we getting ready to see a similar event like 1929, that particular market crash, like the Great Depression? And it's a possibility that this shutdown is a time frame. When you see the shutdown end, look for this. And then lastly, will this crash go down as a historical event? Again, these dreams occurred on 2 of those dates that I shared in that previous video. Now, getting back to November top, October bottom, I originally shared, again, the markets turning green on November the 10th and then moving up from there. However, once again, since sharing this dream in that video, I had those 4 dreams, which causes me to look at this a little bit different. We're looking at October's bottom. When and how much? October's bottom occurred on 10/10. That was the huge liquidation day. That day in particular is one of the 3 candles that I talked about as for the Eiffel Tower dream. So October's bottom was on 10/10 at $102,000. This is for Bitcoin. We're going to use the Bitcoin's chart to take a look at all of this. And then I got thinking about November top. November's top. literal top? Are we looking at a literal top that's going to take place on November 10th? Would this be the date when the top for the month of November is reached on November 10th? If that was the case, if this is the case, then $107,499 is where Bitcoin went on November the 10th. Is this the literal top? Is this what the stream is showing? November top on 11/10. And then when you combine that with the new dreams that God gave me after I shared this dream in that video on the 25th, when you combine the dreams that would take us back to October 29th, 1929 market crash, taking us back to the Great Depression, taking us to that historical event, and then recognizing that it is possible that God is showing us another historical crash that's going to take place, and narrowing things down to the point where we know that November top is on 11/10. After that, then the bears come in. And then finally, this would have something to do with the government shutdown during or after. And again, I think it's going to be the after that will contribute to this particular crash. So again, November's top, 11/10, October's bottom, 10/10. One of the things that I recognize with this too is a pattern that both of these tops and bottoms happen on the same day, different month. So I thought that was rather interesting. So this is what's new. Looking at this again as the literal top instead of looking at it as on November 10th, everything's going to take off, green altcoin season, Bitcoin, everything takes off. Instead of looking at it in that way, what has changed is those forged dreams being interjected after I made that video, emphasizing a crash, bear market, or a bear season. I'm calling it a season simply because I talked about the Eiffel Tower representing a season. And again, you have to go back and watch that last Eiffel Tower video to know what I'm talking about when I mention season. And so this is what is new. Well, that is all that I have for this video. Until the next one, God bless.